And could you press recording, please, Ashley?
I was just about to remind you.
I know. I was a joke that. Right. Our feature poet tonight is an amazing poet, Jason Conway. I have a bio here for you, Jason. I love your bio. Jason is a professional daydreamer, director of the Gloucestershire Poetry Society, and editor of Steel Jackdaw. His work is published in numerous magazines and anthologies, recently published in Generation Beats Anthology 2024, Ink, Sweat and Tears, The Phare, and on BBC Upload. Jason, I can't speak tonight, sorry, Jason. Jason's debut collection is The Wash of Hours, published by Black Eyes Publishing UK, April 2025, hot off the press. Jason has an MA in creative writing and is an Arts Council funded poet. And Jason is also a long-time member of the Prickly Pear community. So when we asked if he would come and do a feature for us, because we knew this book was coming out, he said yes. We are delighted. Jason, it's over to you.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been a long time coming, the book especially. I don't normally kind of like to talk between, poems and things. So what I'm going to do is give you a bit of context, also potentially content warning, because it touches on some dark themes, basically. My father with an incurable illness, sent to a care home. My brother having a breakdown, suffering with really bad mental health. My mum under the strain also, and all during this, it kick-started my artistic burnout, which eventually led to my diagnosis. So, those themes of grief and, some dark subjects in there. So I'm hoping the words that I'm going to share can add some context into kind of what I've been through. And there's some messages of hope in there about grief as well, because it's a difficult subject to talk about. So Sestina as the storm. Outside the window was a fierce storm. The wind shouted and the hedge shook. Decapitated teasels spiked the ground as a weathered windmill was blurred. A white dog and his man walked afield. Jackdaws hovered as dark as the clouds. Layers of burden blackened the clouds as four birches stood naked in the storm by swings that swung empty in the field. Branches were broken, leaves shook. Tree lines in the distance were blurred as beaks stabbed at things in the ground. Compost bags flapped on the ground while magpies played chess below clouds. And dogs barked behind gates, coats blurred. Buildings and land were bruised by the storm, and people on the news, distraught, shaken, as green-bladed grass thrashed in the field. The flash of litter disturbed the field, as savage weather beat the ground. Cows blotted a hillside, colours shaken. Hilltops were scuffed by swollen clouds, and life felt urgent in the clutch of the storm, while the wind clawed and the sky blurred. A fir tree shivered, its needles blurred, while wood pigeons flurried from the field as the washing line whipped in the storm. Overturned pots broke on the ground as the sun burnt a hole in the clouds. Whatever bore those gusts shook. Walls were questioned, fences shook, the garden smudged, borders blurred. Remember feeling lost in the clouds? When they called, who blinked out the field? As the kettle howled and coffee was ground, left us bitter like the storm. But the ground blurred and the room clouded. Away from the field, rain expected. I shook my head, caught the storm in my hands. J is my nickname and my character is low, a case for father. I will be strong, an anchor made of mud that will let you slip straight into a chest and burn cold. Then be a treasure sailing on a mantelpiece, unheard but loud, unseen but vivid. When that time comes, I'll have no will to stop you, as I'll be water or the ghost of it, lung solid, a fish breathing grief, wishing to drown this dead sea with salt. And in the collection, there's some light moments in it, interspersed with nature and childhood memories. And this is one of those, a bit of nostalgia for me. And this is called Chiaroscuro. We had the first colour TV in our grove. Dad was the manager of a TV shop, and we had a new set each year, until he got the shove. He got dobbed in for keeping me in the storage room at work as a baby, while Mum did her shifts at wrists to make ends meet. But I wanted for nothing in a childhood of paisley and kitsch. I preferred black and white, all those old movies to get lost in, between the static of arguments as I tuned out. I filled my world with fantasy and all those war flicks as I ignored traded bombs over Bourbons and builder's tea. And this poem, it's kind of a difficult one because it charts the life of my brother, and obviously there's a mention of his breakdown in this. So, don't let my brother leave. My big brother has just thrown me in the nettles. He's pinched me and stuck a raisin up my nose. I'm told he said he's sorry, but I wish I was older. My brother skipped school, he stopped going, and he's at home without any qualifications. Though he teaches me lessons I don't understand. My older brother isn't that big or strong anymore, and I can arm wrestle him and pin him down. Around town, he delivers flowers, knows everyone's smile. My bloody brother has a steady girlfriend he's seen, but he still lives at home with the folks. I'm off to uni, yet he's cleverer. I can't wait to leave. My unshaven brother has 7 children that he adores. He loves his chaos and telling the worst jokes. He's broke, but rich in life, and I love them all. Your brother's left the house, says he wants to kill himself. He's got a drink problem, he won't eat or ask for help. 2 stone he's lost. He's lost. My brother. All bones. And in times like that, when you hear that news, you can often drift into fantasy, just to escape the pain of what you're witnessing, hearing on the phone. And so this is kind of one of my favourite kind of escape poems about an imaginary friend. It's called A Seaside Fantasy. Blondie Sunday girl plays on the breeze and melts sweetly in our ears as we picnic on the beach, become lost in each other. We write messages in bleached sand, sun hot, with toes, fingers, sticks and stones. Our names get smudged by the tide, like our Sunday ice cream smiles. We laugh as we bite shell blown in our sandwiches, lose wrappers to wind, brave those freezing waves and splash each other, scream a chorus. that challenges the ears of all that has ears nearby. Even dogs agree this place cannot be quiet when kids greet the Irish Sea. I loved those 7 summers spent in Aberystwyth, losing coins in slots, being chased by my brother round a 4-berth caravan. If I close my eyes, I can taste the brine, smell the chips drenched in vinegar, wince with each swallow, feel grass tickle bare feet, hear seagulls argue overhead, like my parents' loose baggage. Their tongues like windsocks, dueling for the last word, as I chased you for kiss chase. I think of the pier, its endless amusements, bandits with one arm, stealing size by the chestload, as we shared candy floss lips. I lost you on that unlucky for me year, my heavenless 7th. We made castles on the beach, said we'd get married in one. We stared across the waves as the sun stole our dreams. Mum and Dad shouted again and scared you away, made my eyes become the sea. And this one covers kind of a bit about the mental state my mother went through immense pressure of dealing with grief, but also becoming the main carer of my brother. And this isn't true. These are imagined words of what I imagine her saying on the times I can't go and visit, because she kind of dependent as me as the main adult to kind of look after everybody. And this one is called My Words Are Like Bombs. When they arrive so unexpectedly and cause the maximum damage to my unsuspecting casualty, like a nail bomb, so neat, concealed in a pretty red ribbon parcel with a note saying, "You thought acupuncture was bad, but here's a surprise that'll have you in A&E wishing you'd done what I'd asked." And by the time you recover, you're riddled with scars, as my sunshine backside radiates melanoma while you send "I don't wish I was here" postcards from your fawn-like face. I'll obliterate them in my blitzkrieg as I rain in your ears and taunt you with sugar sounds that won't soothe those singes. My medicine language given to the bad boy that says no, who's off being bloody independent. But I demand your time, as I'm the woman that birthed you, son. Do what I say, and you'll have mercy tomorrow. But you failed today, so accept your surrender. Remember, your mother feels joy when you're obedient, sends hellfire when you disobey her. May you suffer exquisitely as eating chocolates laced with acid. Come close, bend your piglet ear to your phone speaker and keep listening. Here's a kettle for your thoughts, dear, and I'll ram a throatful of sand soap, as my demands are not accepted, and how you will blister till I scrape you off my soles and speak with notes of love and understand that this is the love of a mother betrayed by your excuses, as you're left decimated by kindness. But none of this is my voice. This is what you imagine when you're not in my earshot, when you bolster your brain from words that arrive sweet and explode, saying, "Sorry I can't come," will be your Armageddon. And I think at times most poets have gone through some kind of painful things that compel them to write. And this is called Take These Joints of Meat that writers feast upon, and throw them in the poet's pot. Let their hunger stew the bones and taste their poetry. And on to a more reflective note. I I kind of have to escape when things are getting really bad, go into nature and disappear for a bit because it renders me incapable of working. And this is one such day and one kind of pondering thought. It's called The Wash of Hours. I walked from Kern Bridge car park, where boats were launched, to where I crossed over the River Wye, went through a metal gate into a field lined with Himalayan balsam that flared its banks along a narrow path, like the infection in my father's bloodstream that took root without a cure. If this wilderness were mind medicine, I had a dose that flooded relief to eyes with memories of past times, of timeless meanders with parents, a child in overflow in the wash of hours. And on this day I drifted, made a blackberry tongue, channels through grass, pebbled legs from nettle stings as I passed, and water whispered round shingle of its inevitable flow beyond these soothing moments that carried life into the distant silence. I thought of how your current slowed each day, of how it would end, how this heat was made bearable ahead of a season of shedding. And this is kind of probably my favourite poem in the book. My father knew he had a terminal illness. He kind of made the best of it. He did suffer quite a bit of pain throughout it, but always has a sense of humour, and I take that with me forever. Basically, this was written for him during my master's degree that I did while he was in a care home. I read it on his care home bed, and I also had the privilege of sharing this at his funeral. And he loved Only Fools and Horses. Only fools and horses work, and Dad, you had the gab all wrapped up, ready to sell to the hypnotised. But you worked so damn canine hard to keep your knitted family cushy. You've got a GC in art when you get in a proper job. You and Mum certainly kept me grounded. Concrete boots for wandering feet until my gown and mortar cemented the punchline. This time next year, Jay, we'll be millionaires, you'd say to me, even now, when there's no change in your meter, and the colds well and truly set in. Your chandelier character illuminated my world until you got stuck in a dodgy dealing that went conference-shaped, and we crowded round your hospital bed catching crystal tears. You used to call me Rodney in jest, Dad. I confess, there's no Cassandra crossing to greener grass for you. No more Grandad sea tails to keep the kids anchored. There's a burglar shadowing you from the inside. No neon paint tracks for the docs to find. Early signs undetected until a fair cop reluctantly charged your life sentence. This time next year, I won't be rich, but I'll have a million precious blinks of a gifted workhorse that fooled around. Proud of my art career. Take that, Rodney, and pucker memories that no one can rob. When my father passed, I couldn't express grief. I still can't. I've kind of shed a tear once. I kind of shut off completely and just carried on with life and everything. And I really feel that writing this collection helped me to process grief before it happened. And this next poem kind of sums up about my kind of longing to actually grieve properly. And it's called An Initial Observer Longs for Natural Motion. Bless this unseen vista, beyond this smoke. Bless the southern wind to melt this frost. Bless the distant rain to salt this ground. Bless this river to breach this dam. Bless this dry leaf that clings to water's edge. Bless the day I hear you say, let go. And I'm going to finish on a last one, which kind of sums up what's important when you lose someone you love, is you've got to hold on to the best memories. It can be painful, but you just have to think of the happy times and the privilege of knowing that person. So my final poem is called Take This Polaroid Escape and watch it burn black. Commit me to recess. Sniff each hue and detail. Taste each memory. Hear its hug and smother its warmth beneath the bleach of dawn. Make me chemical and synapse. Fuse me in bone to haunt where you go. When the sun floods in, let me stay, permanent as salt. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Jason. That was an incredible feature. I'm still actually letting your words wash over me, but I'm going to ask everybody to unmute and show your appreciation for Jason, our feature poet today. That's brilliant. Woo.